With me now is the senator who initially proposed that idea earlier this week, Shaheen of New Hampshire. Thank you for being here.
Nice to be with you.
What's your response to Lindsey Graham? He says, in no world, absolutely not, would I be supportive of this subpoena.
Well, I understand that a number of my Republican colleagues don't like this idea, but the point is the point that Senator Graham made, and that is we don't know what the president agreed to in this meeting. The information we're getting about what was said is coming out of the Russian government. The Ministry of Defense in Russia is where we've heard what they've agreed to. It's incumbent on the administration to let the American people and Congress know what was agreed to. We have an oversight responsibility, and if they won't tell us, then we've got to figure out how to get that information some other way.
So I understand that, but the pushback is, and look, to be candid, Lindsey Graham wants answers on Russia. You heard how critical. He just called the Trump administration naive on Russia. So he's no apologist for the Trump administration on this front. But his point, Senator, is that if you do that, you have a chilling effect, right? I mean, that there has to be some privacy to these things, some ability for translators just to be translators. Listen to what Scott Jennings, who was a special assistant to President George W. Bush, said about this idea last night.
There's bad ideas, there's terrible ideas, there's crazy ideas, and then there's this one that comes from the farthest left fever swamps of Washington, D.C. We cannot go down this road. It would have a serious chilling impact on all of these functional people in the White House that help the president do his job. I mean, what's next? We're going to have to go out and find the people who take the garbage out to the dumpster and say, hey, did you look through the garbage bags last night? This is a lunatic idea.
Does he have a point?
Well, he's wrong, and he's being ridiculous. But the point is the one that Senator Graham and I and so many others are making. We are not being given any information about what was said, what the president might have agreed to at his meeting with Vladimir Putin. I had the opportunity to hear from some State Department officials after Helsinki. I asked them a question about Syria and what had the president agreed to with respect to Syria, and they didn't know the answer to that. So clearly he's not even talking to his own administration about what he agreed to. We have a responsibility to the American people to have an oversight of foreign policy, and this administration is keeping us from fulfilling our responsibility.
Your Democratic colleague in the House, Representative Eric Swalwell, just this morning apparently tried to subpoena the translator, and that was struck down by an 11-6 vote in the House Intel Committee, killing that effort to do it. Republican Senator John Thune says this is Democrats trying to keep the story alive, but he also makes an interesting point, and he says the translator is someone who is probably not versed in policy and is not going to be able to explain the nuances of what went on there. Does he have a point?
I don't need somebody to explain the nuances. I need somebody to tell me what was said, what was agreed to. We don't have that information from this president. All we have is what the Russian ministry is putting out, and that's not good enough for the American people, and it's certainly not good enough for Congress.
Are you getting any indication privately from your Republican colleagues? I know Corker said he's considering it. Of course, he chairs the committee. You sit on the Foreign Relations Committee. But he said, I don't even know if it's appropriate. Are you getting any indication from your Republican colleagues that they feel differently than Lindsey Graham, who says absolutely not? Meaning, could this happen?
Well, I appreciated that Senator Corker is willing to consider the idea and see what might make sense. What we need is a commitment from this administration to bring in the officials who can tell us what was said and what was agreed to at the meeting in Helsinki. So far, all they have done is provided obstruction. So if we can't get this information from the president, from the administration, then we have to figure out how to get it.